Good afternoon, traders and investors. It's Will here with another one. Hope you guys had a very good day. Today was a decent day in the markets overall, with our SPY coming in at 0.6% green, and also the QQQ pushing another 1.24% to the upside, guys. And what I wanted to say for today is the bears just had an incapacity to follow through, right? They were just unable to do it. They had perfectly set themselves up yesterday to further the daily consolidation into today and potentially tomorrow, but there was just no follow through at all. So we're going to take a look at some charts here and see what we're dealing with going forward. But as we can see, dips do remain for buying and bulls remain strong, right? So getting into it right away. So on the S&P 500, we can see that we actually held the lows that we were supposed to hold, right? If we would have lost the low from Tuesday, it would have potentially set us up for a daily downtrend into further consolidation into the 12 EMA. But as of now, we have completely reversed yesterday's move. You can see it best on the 4-hour chart. Never really lost the 12 EMA by too much, right? And at this point, we really just consolidated near the high of the level, and we're kind of pushing towards the higher end of the range. So this remains bullish, guys. I mean, yesterday it was potentially going into what seemed to be wanting to do some weekly consolidation, but I don't think we're going to get it, especially with how the past weeks have closed. It's let us know that today and potentially for tomorrow as well, this may end the week in a bullish fashion, potentially pushing our 4,300 level and potentially furthering the upside into next week. The level I'm looking out for here, guys, 431.80 is the last level of defense for the bears for a considerable while, and then we kind of go up into these levels, right? So with the candle formation and with the way that we engulfed yesterday's negative move, would not surprise me, guys, if we end up with a green day tomorrow, finishing off the week positively. So congratulations to the bulls, but at this point as well, anything we need to hold today's low pretty much. This is the low for the week. Absolutely need to hold these levels if this daily uptrend needs to be maintained. QQQ did a great job of recovering. What were we saying in yesterday's video? We were watching out for the 12 EMA. I was saying I don't like this candle. It's coming in fairly hard, but we do still have the 12 EMA. And as long as the bulls hold this 12 EMA, as they've done all throughout the past, right, it's very likely that we continue to find dip buyers close to that level. So what did we do today? And yesterday, rather, we did a great job here of cooling off the daily RSI. You see that one-day move cooled us off significantly. Now we're no longer overbought. We're towards the overbought level, but no longer overbought in a significant fashion, right? On the weekly, looking bullish as well. If we can close this candle similar to last week in a bullish doji formation, could lead us to believe that the next move is going to target the 363 all the way up to 369 level. This is the line in the sand level for the bears that they absolutely need to hold. Would not surprise me if into next week, if Powell and the CPI come out with something decently bullish. Would not surprise me at all, guys. If we do see the remainder of that move take place, that would be another 4 to 4.5% worth of upside from here, right? So watch for it. At this point, the bulls are really in control, guys. The only negative thing that you can possibly say is with yesterday's move, right? We were expecting potentially a higher, lower high compared to the high prior in the week, right? So if this does turn out to be our lower high, what are we going to do? If we roll over, then it's potentially going to come in to a daily downtrend confirmation, especially if we flush the 346.60 level. However, if the likely scenario at this point, guys, the bulls have taken back a significant amount of this level, right? If we run the fib off of this just real quick, you will see that the bulls have taken back pretty much over 50% of this move, right? So a very, very, very good move by the bulls. This sets them up to potentially hold the lows and reverse the 4-hour time frame into something bullish. As you can see, we closed the day above our moving averages. So I would not be surprised, guys, if this just kind of either fiddles around here until next week when we get some macro data releases, or even tomorrow if we start pushing the range highs again, right? Bulls in absolute complete control. Why? Because once again, bears have absolutely failed the follow through whatsoever. As you can see, they tried here. They tried, but as soon as the pre-market kind of opened here, right around 8 o'clock, we just shot back up, reset the hourly uptrend in motion. At this point, guys, I mean, if you're the bears and you have a nice red day like this, like, you have to follow through, especially if you're consolidating near the lows in the after hours. I mean, they absolutely needed to push, but Bulls bought the dip hard, so it does not surprise me at this point that we are now trending back up to the highs. Line in the sand level for me, once again, remains at this point your 346.60 level, right? These guys right here. XLF doing a good job, guys. And as I can show you, I mean, XLF was slightly red on the day, but we did a great job in the end of day of reversing most of the negative move. If you want to see how the price action looked like on a broad market basis, you can see that most of our sectors performed decently, and the ones that didn't perform decently, you can see they were not down that much. You don't see some bright red here, right? So it's all really, you know, not even 0.5% moves to the downside in energy and a lot of industrials, right? Healthcare had a very nice day, but even our financials here, as you can see, guys, the payment processors were down the worst, but the rest of the banks did actually not so bad. Technology, obviously, and consumer communication services didn't do too poorly as well. Our cyclicals here, Tesla with a massive day, which we'll cover later. But yeah, I mean, very decent day, decent breadth in the market as well. Nothing was really pushing all to one side, right? We had good rotation again. So XLF, the level I'm looking out for here, 33.50. I do believe that the bulls do still control this. Why? Just keep an eye on the 4-hour chart, guys, right? So we are still in a 4-hour uptrend. It double bottomed at the low. We absolutely held it. So the level to watch for me at this point, guys, on the daily will be our low of yesterday and today, which is pretty much almost the same level here, roughly at 32.88, right? So watch that level. If we don't break that level and we push to the upside, well, this daily uptrend still potentially has some legs, right? Right into this area. I'm looking for the bulls over the next week to push into this area, which is our next area of resistance. The bulls remain in control at this point of the weekly time frame too. We need to set the weekly uptrend. If you smash this level, you will have finally set the weekly much awaited uptrend. Keep an eye on this MACD, wants to curl over. So momentum is with the bulls currently. Great job on financials. I'll say it in every video. The number one pick on financials for me on the US side is Charles Schwab, just because of how much they were unfairly sold off, in my opinion. Great company to be invested in. Most of the business is in the brokerage industry, right? And on the Canadian side, this is the one. If you like Canadian banks are all roughly trading 30% off their all-time highs. This is an actively managed ETF that puts most of the weight into the most oversold banks in Canada. All Canadian banks pay at least a 5% dividend. This one runs a little bit of leverage, currently running a 7.86% dividend yield, right? And we can see, guys, that we're kind of in the bottoming out process. I have been DCAing so much in this area because when we do finally come back, as you guys know, Canadian banks are some of the strongest and most resilient in the world. And when there's a dip like this, in my opinion, it's not a dip to be missed out, right? If you look at the Canadian banks, I'll just pull up a few, you can see that their price action history is a lot better than their US counterparts, right? That's TD, this is RBC, right? Even you can look at the ones that have sold off significantly in the past. Bank of Nova Scotia, we have another one, Canadian Bank of Imperial Commerce, right? CIBC. They trend up and they pay heavy dividends, guys. So very good. It's one of the largest components of the Canadian economy, which is pretty resilient to recessions. So that is my pick for financials. Moving on to healthcare in Canada. At least you can buy this whether you're in Canada or anywhere in the world, really. It's actually cheaper if you're American, you know, to buy Canadian stocks. So XLV doing a great job. We were expecting them to set the daily higher low. What we need to see is now we need to see a break of 131.32 if you want to confirm the daily uptrend. At this point for me now with such a nice day, well, anything above the 128.87 level is still bullish, but this probably needs to be the daily higher low. Bulls doing a great job of playing defense, not allowing the bears to come too shallow into that too deep into that move, keeping it shallow. So what we want to see is healthcare bulls kind of take over here. If there is any weakness in QQQ or financials, need to see the healthcare bulls perform. Looking very decent on this chart. Level to the upside 131.32 and level to the downside if we lose this, well, unfortunately we will kind of roll over here into more daily consolidation and the weekly bottom probably will not be set at that point. So that is what we're looking for on XLV. IWM, slight red day, but started off very red and then bought back into the end of the day. So bulls were here to buy the dip. levels to the upside to be watching currently, in my opinion, is going to be this level I've been saying in the last few days, 191.81, so right shy of 192. Okay, this supply zone right here is going to be the next area of resistance. Good momentum to the upside on the daily chart. As you can see, guys, on the weekly chart, this is kind of advancing versus if you look at this pattern, right, this chart formation here, this is IWM, this is XLF. It's the same pattern. So I'm looking for XLF to do what IWM already has done and break this line right here and smash through, right? So IWM doing a great job on the small caps here. The time frame for me to watch, I am definitely a buyer if we do come back down here into the low 180 area. The time frame I'm watching is the 4 hour. As long as we don't lose the 4 hour EMA, bulls remain in full control. Beautiful, 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 easy chart to read, guys, right? At this point, anything above 183.50-ish is just a 4 hour higher low and doing a great job of grinding up this 12 EMA. You will only know that your daily move is finished. So this daily move, you'll only know if it's finished if we somehow lose the 4 hour trend to the downside. So great job to the bulls. Just keep an eye on your levels up here, closer to the 190, 191 area. That's my next target. Dow Jones stocks are coming back, guys, right? So what we were saying over the past few weeks is we were looking for the bulls to reverse the daily trend, which they did. Reversed it, and now we are even pushing higher, further confirming the reversal of the daily uptrend to the bulls. Momentum now heavily pointing to the upside here, MACD and RSI too. So I want to look at this on the weekly, okay? Because I think that the weekly is the most important time frame of the Dow Jones. Inverse head and shoulders. We need to get back up to 34,000, okay? Roughly 34,200, 34,300. This whole range up here is super, super important. I do think that we will get it in this move up. MACD wants to curl to the bullish side. Our RSI is above the average now. We have a lot of bullish momentum. So if bulls can keep it up, right? Anything above at this point, 33,400 is just daily higher low. Bulls are in full control. We do have the moving average here down as well. I'm looking for the weekly bulls to pull up in this area. I think there's a great chance that if the bulls pull up into this area, I think that we're going to smash through, guys, and head towards the 35.5 area. So just keep an eye on that. Dow Jones names are doing a great job of recovering. We want to go over a few names quick. Well, McDonald's, right? McDonald's had a very, very bullish day today. If we look at Home Depot's been coming up in the past. John Deere has been coming up in the past week, right? Look at another one, Caterpillar. Caterpillar's put a beautiful move off the bottom. What are our beverage companies doing? Pepsi had a beautiful day today, up 1%, right? Still down overall, but up. But you can see the patterns here, right? JP Morgan these are all Dow Jones names, right? Estee Lauder still down. So I'm just running through the ones off the top of my head. Nike also has put in a decent move from the bottom, right? It's still, right, about a 4% move off the bottom. And that's what you needed to see. You needed to see the Dow Jones names stop their bleed and start a little rally here. And that's what's been happening pretty much across the board. Starbucks as well, kind of round bottoming here, trying to reverse the daily trend, okay? So very, very good job by the bulls on that. Now, let's get into some crypto. Bitcoin. As I was saying yesterday, very, very challenging chart, right? So the bulls had engulfed this entire move. Like I was saying yesterday, guys, we are pretty much at the last line of defense here. Why? Because our Fibonacci retracement, let's run the fib on it, right? From bottom to top, the bears now have come down to the maximum possible level if you want the bulls to still retain control. Now, 618, very important. Why? Because in theory, it said that if you drop 618, the bulls still have a chance to go and tackle the highs. If you come any bit lower than this, then it just turns into a tightening range, which is what no one wants, especially in crypto. You need the volatility. So what I'm looking out for on Bitcoin is I need to see the bulls make a decent move to the upside. So far, yes, we do have an hourly uptrend, but it's really messy, guys. It's really messy. We're kind of just in this tightening range here, apparently. So what I need to see is I need to see the bulls regain this 4-hour uptrend in a significant fashion and start pushing up towards the higher end of these levels. If not, we're really just going to wait for this tightening pattern to play out, and whichever way it breaks will probably be the further upside or downside. If it breaks to the upside, obviously we're targeting the higher end of this channel here, right around 28,000. If it breaks to the downside, unfortunately, we could go down here all the way to the 25,000 level, potentially a bit under. We have some horizontal support here. We have the downtrending channel line. We have our 200 daily moving averages. So a lot of support down there. But then again, with the bulls making such a nice move after this low here, right? Such a nice recovery. You really want to see them actually follow through and take advantage of this, right? So all eyes on Bitcoin to do it. Most of the rest of crypto is pretty much following Bitcoin at this point. So in my opinion, not so much to see there. Now, I'm going to go through all the big tech names quickly because we covered them in depth yesterday. So Apple rejecting on the daily, 12 EMA, right? We thought that Apple could potentially come down a bit more. I was saying yesterday, anything above 171, 170.5 is just going to be your daily high or low. Well, with today's movement, seems to be set now. We seem to have potentially set a new daily high or low right at 12 EMA. 177.38 for me becomes a line in the sand level for me at Apple. Congratulations to the bulls, holding on. Weekly still looking bullish. Daily at this point still looking bullish. Bears just not able to capitalize on anything. They had the moving averages on the 4-hour. What did they choose to do with it? Absolutely nothing. The bulls completely engulfed today. So bulls remain in full control, guys. Need to lose the moving averages if you want to see the bears win. If not, the bulls will remain in full control. Congratulations to Apple. Our upside level now is the 185 all-time highs. Amazon, same thing, right? Look how strong of a move. If you see a candle like this, you tend to assume that the next day there's going to be at least a bit of follow-up. Do you not? The momentum was so hard. All we did is gave back all the move on the RSI, right? So now we're no longer overbought. Now bulls have created some space to continue grinding higher, right? So on the weekly, we're still looking good, still above this 200 weekly moving average right here, which is still sitting at about 120-ish. So Amazon on the weekly, as I was saying yesterday, anything above 101.50 is a weekly higher low if we do consolidate more. But the bulls, just like Apple, not willing to give up the 12 EMA. We were looking for daily higher low levels around 119, right? Didn't even make it, gapped up pretty much today and held the gains for the most of the day. Well, remains to be seen, guys, if our 4-hour downtrend is going to be set or if they just take advantage of this, set a little 4-hour bull flag here and reverse the 4-hour uptrend to the upside. So really, really important day tomorrow. Just keep an eye, guys. If the bears can't even make the bulls lose at 12 EMA, guys, I mean, we're not going to get weekly consolidation. That's just not how it works, right? So Apple upside targets remains to be your year-to-date high at 127.40-ish, right? And then levels to the downside, if you want to see potential break of this and into weekly consolidation, needs to break 119.27 if you kind of want to see them pull back any further than that, right? Google, same thing, but Google came down a bit more today. As you can see, yesterday's move did put us below the 12 EMA right here. We are also now fairly decently down on the RSI. So bulls have, with yesterday's move, bulls have created a lot of space to where we're no longer overbought now. Look, we've been overbought now for the past 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks, almost a month. Now with one single candle, we are no longer in overbought territory. So great job by the bulls of playing some defense here. This area, as I said, right, this yellow box right here from 122 down to about 120 is going to be a big area. It was resistance for a while. I expect it to be challenging for the bears to break through this level, which is probably why we got a good bit of defense today, even though yesterday was a very bold move into it, right? So if I'm looking at this chart, if you guys want to see more weekly consolidation, what do we need to see? 4-hour chart. This is what they need to do. They need to roll over the 4-hour chart. If they're not able to break through, if there's no follow through by the bears, guys, well, the bulls, it just opens the door, guys, for if the bulls can just put in a move like this, reset the 4-hour uptrend to their side and just continue grinding higher. So line in the sand level for me is this yellow zone, roughly 120. Anything below 120, I do think that then there's going to be a good chance that we consolidate a bit further on the weekly towards our moving average, maybe around 115. I would be a buyer writing some options between 115 and 110 personally on Google. Okay, Microsoft, all right, same concept once again. Look on the daily 12 EMA is actually lost here. We actually lost the daily higher low patterns, right? So the daily higher low pattern was this guy right here at around 325. Okay, we're just under 325. Now we've lost it, and if you look on the lower time frames here, we've actually broken it. It was this guy right here. We've broken it, used it as resistance, and now struggling with it, right? So if I draw this line out here, we're using it as resistance now, okay? So that is what the bears want to see. Microsoft and Meta probably are going to be exhibiting the best version of this, right? So at this point, the level for me that the bulls need to maintain currently is going to be this guy right here at 313.71. Very, very important level, okay? If we lose this level, if we come down here, well, we'll have lost both EMAs and our last pretty much level of horizontal support here, right? So support, which was previously resistance, and that would lead us into believe that weekly consolidation towards the moving average is more likely towards the 307, 306 area. For me personally, on this chart, for the weekly higher low, anything above 305 is going to be a weekly higher low. Tons of space, but doing a good job of cooling down the RSIs. Look, cool down the RSIs with just 2 days of trading. So that's good. If the bulls can put a stop here, right, and start reversing slowly, they can grind higher and not be overbought. That's very important, right? So level of resistance, obviously, is year-to-date highs at 338. Very, very important. Meta right now, okay, looking kind of like Microsoft in the aspect that we've pulled down a bit. As you can see, we're no longer as egregiously overbought as we were in the past on the daily. Weekly, still slightly overbought. Weekly level for me, guys, is still 230, okay, on the weekly for weekly higher lows. So it's very possible, you know, like if we just level out around here and then break it, then our weekly higher lows become these guys. But for now, it is still down here on the daily time frame. However, it is my purple line, right? I need to see the bulls hold this purple line. We're challenging, really challenging, right? This was the daily higher low right here, 257. If we lose 257, you need to hold this area. If not, most likely we are coming down lower than 207, probably down towards the moving average, towards our weekly higher low, right? So daily bulls still in relative control, all right? We did double bottom at this level. We did a good job. Tomorrow, if we do make a bit of movement up here, it'll further cool off this RSI even more. But the bulls are still in control, guys, of the weekly, of the monthly, the daily as well, right? So at this point, we're taking it 1 day at a time. 1 day at a time. If we lose today's low pretty much, then you can argue that we're probably coming down potentially to 245. And if we hit 245, right, at that point, then you really need to be looking for the weekly higher low. I would be looking to write some puts on Meta, would be fairly comfortable in doing so in the 230 zone. If we come back into this 245 level hard, then it opens the door to be writing some puts in the 230 area. I would be fairly comfortable for that because we do have some good support down there. So good job by the Meta bulls today of playing defense, regaining that 12 EMA. Now, NVIDIA also playing really good defense. What was I saying yesterday, guys? Or the days before? I was saying if we just do nothing and hold price, your RSI will come down. That's exactly what's happening now. The RSI is slowly coming down. On the weekly as well, you can see it's coming down, right? So on the daily, the bulls at this point, the line in the sand level has been held. Barely, but has been held. Our last line of defense right here, 366.83, right near the moving average as well. Bulls doing a great job of playing defense, not losing yesterday's lows. The most important time frame for me, guys, at this point is the 4 hour, okay? 4 hour, the bulls have now put in a decent enough move back to the upside that they could reconfirm a 4 hour uptrend. If they lose it, then the 4 hour downtrend remains intact, and we will continue to pull down on the daily time frame. The most likely scenario for me, if we do come down, is we're going to level out anywhere here between 335 and 345, which is our previous all-time high. It would also fill, you know, a good portion of the gap if we were to do that. But first things first, as long as the bulls aren't losing this 12 EMA on the daily chart, and as long as they can't really push these lows as bears with 4 hour significant downtrends that get follow through, we're not going anywhere. So congratulations to NVIDIA bulls for holding on to that. Now, Tesla is the number one stock that I wanted to talk about here. As you can see in the aftermarket, we are up another 5% on Tesla. You guys know this stock. When it starts moving, it moves. We have now smashed through in the after hours. You can see the daily close was at our 235 resistance area, last area of resistance. After hours, we've now blown through it. So tomorrow will be a gap up open. RSI on the daily, as you can see, is very, very, very overbought, you know, kind of pulling a Meta, NVIDIA, all that good stuff, right? So now there remains to be a small gap here around 265. 265 would be 263, right? Area will be the gap fill area for Tesla that I'm looking out on. It's the next area that stands out to me. And after that, we're all the way up, guys, to about 290, right? But not much significant resistance really until about 310. Right? This area is much more significant than these small areas here, right? So just keep that in mind. Will we move there in one clean shot? I would be very surprised. I'm just saying it in the grand scheme of things, you know, and it should technically start to retrace soon, level out here, accumulate some more, right? Potentially use this 230 area as support at this point, and then go up for the next leg higher. On the weekly, we are looking very, very, very bullish. Tons of space for our weekly bulls to complete, you know, a series of moves like this without being overbought. So on the weekly, that's just kind of how I'm seeing it play out. At this point, Tesla is very hard for me to buy here. It's kind of in an in-between area. I would much rather see a slight pullback. If we can see a slight pullback, right? Slight pullback of a few days, that would give me more confidence to be writing options in the 220 area, right? I already have a decent amount of long shares that I'm holding. So for me, I won't personally be adding long shares at this point, only if I'm assigned, but I will be trailing the price higher. I do think Tesla has a ways to move. At this point, guys, you need to be watching the daily chart. It's the most important chart. When this daily chart tops out, right, when we put in a few red days after so much green, then you need to see, okay, where is the daily chart going to bottom? At this point, for me, right, anything above 212.80 is going to be a daily high or low. So tons and tons and tons of space to do it. Okay, this is the great area here, 215-ish, where this yellow line is. Very, very good, solid area of support if it does get retested. Now we're significantly off that, right? So just keep that in mind. As I was saying, me personally, I will want to be writing options now anywhere between 220 and 230 for the next week, 2 weeks, potentially. Great job by the bulls. I do think Tesla is on this nice leg up. If we don't do it in one leg, I do believe that we'll do it in 2 legs, right? Where we are going to come back into the 300 area range pretty aggressively, because Tesla is doing great things. PayPal, well, what we were saying yesterday is we were looking to set the daily high or low compared to our 52-week low at this point of $59. So still looking to have that set. It's good that we're using the 12 EMA as support. Bulls are doing a great job of playing defense on the lower time frames here. You can see that we really didn't, even though yesterday was very aggressive, today we did not follow through on that, right? So we're just looking to reset the hourly trend to the upside, right? So what I want to see tomorrow from bulls is if we can potentially set the hourly trend change here. If we set the hourly trend change in motion, it'll give me an idea that the daily high or low is potentially set, right? And that we're going to resume for a leg higher. It's kind of messy now because we don't have a lot of downwards momentum yet. So 4 hour, I definitely want to see bulls step in here and stop and then reverse it to the upside and continue grinding higher. The more we grind, guys, the more of this move that we can take back, the better it is. When the bears do make their attempt, we could get a higher low compared to this low here and then reset the weekly uptrend. Weekly uptrend for me is so important, guys. So important, because we have not set a weekly uptrend now. Well, pretty much since the bullish era of this stock, right? This was not a weekly uptrend. This was a weekly upswing. And you see, they were never able to actually set it and move higher. All it was a weekly upswing and then weekly downtrend, right? Weekly upswing and then weekly downtrend confirmed, okay? So need to get a weekly uptrend going. You'll only do that if you can put in a decent amount of move into this earnings drop. Palantir, the bulls surprised me so much. I didn't talk about this one yesterday, but I should have. You look top to bottom yesterday, Palantir, they were down 15%. With the pre-market here, 15% down, right? In a single day, top to bottom, very big sell-off on Palantir. What that allowed us to cool off the RSI slightly, but not enough for most people, right? But the bulls did a great job. We're looking at the 12 EMA. 12 EMA for me is the level to watch. The line in the sand level for Palantir, 13.83, okay? 13.83. If we lose that level, in my opinion, we are going for further weekly consolidation. It doesn't need to be too aggressive, but I would like to see a weekly pullback potentially on Palantir to accumulate more positions and then get ready for leg number 2. Keep in mind, guys, the monthly bulls have put in a decent amount of work. So even if we were to pull back, let's say for this month, we're so much space. The bullish uptrend, right, has been set. Just like Tesla, the bullish uptrend has now been confirmed. We have some good catalysts. If they do 2 more profitable quarters, they could be positioned to be added to the S&P 500 potentially in 2024. So that's always up for discussion. On the weekly chart, you can see still overbought. Daily chart, still overbought, which is why I'm saying, guys, if we literally just do nothing or hesitate around here, slowly just make a nice little bull flag, this RSI will come down significantly and put us in a position where it's more advantageous for us to buy. Personally, on PayPal, I would love to see us come back down anywhere to the $13 range, $12 to $13 range is where I'm going to be writing options and where I would DCA and buy more shares personally as well. After having DCA'd so much down in this area, would not mind adding in the $12 to $13 range. At this point for me, guys, still tiny bit rich. All right. So great day overall, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Value stocks are coming back. Dividend stocks are coming back. The rotation remains healthy. Bears were not able to take advantage of yesterday's move on big tech, and that's a problem. If you're a bear, you need to see follow through. If you don't get follow through and you don't get those 12 EMA dailies from the bulls, nothing is going to happen, right? So as long as we still see some healthy rotation across the market, it'll be very tough for the bulls to for the bears to convincingly get major downside consecutive days, okay? So once again, my name's Will. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider liking, consider subscribing. Really helps the channel out, guys. I appreciate you all for watching. I love you all. Happy trading for tomorrow. And it's Friday, so put a smile on that face. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.